Hello, I am Tiffany Chrisman. I'm the fifth grade teacher at St. Rita's, and I'm going to walk you through some of the units that I created on Atlas as exemplar units. So you'll notice I'm already in my Atlas, and I'm going to go to Develop and go to ELA 5, which is ELA 5th grade, and that's going to bring up all of the units I've created. So this is my unit calendar. We've developed 3 units. The way we've decided on these titles is that we decided to all do a similar one. So we started with key ideas and details using informational text. And so key ideas and details is the standard we're assessing with the informational text. And the topic that I'm teaching through that is 9/11. The next one we did was craft and structure through literature, and my focus on that is plot. And finally, we chose key ideas and details through literature. I use the book Wonder, and I focus on characters. So I'm going to walk you through the final map that I created, which is the key ideas and details Wonder characters map. So I'm going to click on it here, and it's going to take me directly to my map. This format obviously is nothing new. This is what you've seen all last year through our professional learning. So here again is my title. In the first couple maps that we created, we decided to start from the very top and start with big ideas and essential questions. And I found that that was the most difficult thing for me to think about. And so, excuse me. For this map, I decided to start with the standards. So I teach the book Wonder in my class, and I know what I'm trying to teach through it. So when I was doing my map, I thought that I taught point of view. And so originally my title was Wonder Point of View. And as I was thinking about all the ways that I taught it and the ways that I assessed my students, I realized I wasn't focusing on point of view, but more so on the characters. So I selected all of my standards, the key ideas and details, reading closely to what the text says, analyzing how and why individuals, events, and ideas develop and interact over the course of the text, point of view, evaluating content in diverse formats. I have the students look at the music that RJ Palacio selects for each character, and that's where they have to evaluate other formats of text within our book. I also have them write an opinion essay at the end, so that's my writing standards that I brought in. So after I chose my standards, I thought about the ways I assessed my students in this unit, and I went directly to my assessments. So at the end of the book, the students have to write an opinion essay. So my first assessment that I listed was my opinion essay, and here are the standards that they use that I assessed through that essay. Another thing I have my students do is they write a claim, evidence, reasoning paragraph in order to explain why a character embodies a certain trait using evidence from the book. So it's another formative written assessment, and here are the standards that I'm assessing. The students also have to create Wonder character posters. And so this is an artistic creation, and they have to fill the hair of the character with the character traits they feel that character embodies. They also have to discuss throughout our book why they think RJ Palacio chose a song to represent a certain character. So that's my final assessment here about a discussion about the songs and the standards that I'm assessing. So after I listed my assessments, the easiest thing for me to think about was how I taught this unit and what were all the things that I made my students do. So I went straight to the learning activities. And I've also found that in one of my previous units, this is the box that I actually started in. If you go back to last year's lesson plan book and you find what you taught and how you taught it, the learning activities is an easy spot to start at. So I listed the things that I have my students do using the book Wonder. So first, obviously, we have to read the book. And while we read the book, the students, when we come across a new character and RJ Palacio has listed lyrics from a song for that character, I give them the full lyrics of the song, and we also listen to the song. And before we read that character's point of view, the students have to make inferences on why they think RJ Palacio chose that song for that character. Now, keep in mind, this is before they know the character, so they then are really inferring what they think the character is like. After we read that character's point of view, we go back to the song, we re-listen to it, we revisit the lyrics, and then decide, based on what we've read, why we think the author has chosen that song. So after they finish the book, the students get in groups and they get a character from the book that they have to create the poster for. They create a visual image of that character and they fill their hair with character traits they feel that character embodies. So after they fill their hair, they each have to select one trait that they filled their hair with, and they have to use evidence from a book and write a paragraph using the claim, evidence, reasoning format that proves why that character embodies that trait based on their actions in the book. The next part that I have my students do is my favorite part of this unit, where the students create a wonder-inspired image of themselves and fill their own hair with character traits they feel that they embody. Now, I specify that they need to put in positive traits only. And part of that is that I really am trying to get my 5th grade students to develop a positive self-image of themselves, because self-esteem and confidence is something that a lot of them lack at this time in their life. So it's difficult for some of my students to do this. And when it is difficult and they can't think of any more words to fill their own hair with, I present them to the class and I say, hey, how many, who can think of some traits for Owen? And excuse me, the students are never at a loss to give them positive traits. And it's a beautiful thing to see their self-image of themselves develop through this process. So after they do all this, they have to write their opinion essay where they choose one character and their corresponding song and try to prove why they think RJ Palacio chose that song using evidence from the book. So after I filled out my learning activities, I went back to the content, knowledge, and skills portion. So I filled out my content knowledge based on all of the learning activities I did. What nouns, what topics, what vocabulary, what do my students need to know in order to succeed in these learning activities? And then over in skills, we have a bank of skills for you to use. And I have bookmarked mine directly into my viewer and I just go directly to that and they're linked directly to your standards. So whatever standards you're hitting in your unit, you find the list of skills that match it. I just copied and pasted mine directly into this box and then I went back through them and deleted any that I wasn't really using within this unit, because there are parts of the standard that I might be hitting and parts of the standard that I might not fully be focusing on, and so those skills would not be included in this unit. So the next thing that I did excuse me, is I went down to the school-wide learning expectations and filled those out. And after you complete your learning activities and your skills and your knowledge and your assessments and your standards, your SLEs become pretty simple to select because you know everything that your students are doing within this unit. The Catholic identity is a box that it's either simple or difficult depending on what you're teaching. So in this particular one, it was more difficult for me because it wasn't directly in my face. But really what I was doing is I really wanted to focus on the students creating a self-image of themselves that was positive. And that linked into a psalm that I found all about how God gives us the talents and we are made in God's image, and therefore everything about us is positive. And so being able to fill this part out on the map has really helped me focus on this more within my classroom. So after the Catholic identity portion, I went down and filled out the differentiation and technology integration, which are drop-down menus. So when you choose items, I just clicked on the ones that I knew I was using within that unit and then left it at that. So after those, that's when I went back to the big idea and essential questions. Because to me, like I said, these are the most difficult parts. And oftentimes I have to bounce all my ideas off of someone else in order to really hone in on what I feel is a good essential question and a good big idea. So in this case, the essential questions are related more to the standards and the content of what I'm teaching. And this was the focus on how an author's choice of adding in those song choices, how that helps us understand the text more. And also how the characters' choices and actions within the book define who they are as characters. So your big idea should really help you answer some of your essential questions, or at least one of them. And in this case, my essential question of how the characters' choices and actions define our view of who they are, I wanted them to link to their own life and how their own choices and actions make them who they are. So that became my big idea. So like I said, the big idea and essential questions was the most difficult for me. It might be simpler for other people, but for me, it was the most difficult. But after filling out every other part of the map, it becomes more clear in my head. And I found that I do tend to start with the learning activities or what I know of how I teach it. Because you all have taught, excuse me, or you know what you want to do. And that's really the center of what develops all the other ideas around it. So I hope this was helpful for you. Obviously, if you have any questions, please feel free. And also feel free to listen to this and pause it as you go if you need more clarification. Again, I really hope this was helpful for you. I really enjoyed creating this unit, and this whole process has made me much more conscious of how I'm teaching, what I'm teaching, and what my true focus is on when I'm teaching. So good luck creating all of yours, and big ideas and essential questions will hopefully get easier over time for me. So thank you very much for listening, and good luck.